Well, today's Saturday and I'm off, but in the shed. And I was just going through my wood pile, which I have a decent size of wood pile outside, which is taking a beating. It really does take a beating, but some of those get the best character from being out there. Some of them, they'll end up being in the fire pit because they've gotten too soft, too eaten up, too many checks, whatever the reason, or they plainly don't have good character to start off with. The ones that I keep inside the shed, in the other hand, they've dried up pretty nice, minimal checking, and I have some okay pieces in here. But today, from outside, I picked a piece that it's even making me wonder as to why in the world am I putting that in the underlaid. Well, I'm going to back up a little bit. It doesn't make me wonder completely. It makes me wonder if I can do it. There's a difference there. There is a good reason as to why I'm putting it on the lathe. And let me show you. And I'm going to try, seeing if I don't get some back of the head shots on this and be a little conscientious of where the camera is and conscientious that I'm actually recording. And hopefully give you guys something that you can see the process and you can take the process for whatever it's worth. Now, if you don't feel safe doing what I do, by all means, don't do it. Saws, and I'm not saying just because you're experienced makes you immune to accidents happen. Accidents can happen to the most experienced. But here's what I do. Okay. Even when I'm not showing the full apparatus of my safety gear and making sure that I please those of you, or some, that have nothing better to do but to pick at what my safety in my shed is. I am not telling anyone to go out there and do whatever and casual. I'm telling you, wear your safety shield. Wear your breathing apparatus. Do everything that is recommended for the way to do it in your own lathe. But this is my lathe, it's my shed. I'm not teaching you to ignore safety. If anything, I'm telling you to be aware of safety at all times. Now, if I see that it's a little bit too rough, I will put whatever I have to protect myself. And I don't stand in front of the bowl. I mean, that's bottom line. I don't come over here and be right here with this thing. If it flies off or any part of it flies off, it's coming at me. Let me see if I can zoom out. Nope, I'm fully out. So you'll have to excuse me. If something is going to fly off this lathe, it's going to fly out that way. I'm not in a line of fire. I will do all my turning until I get this pretty well balanced and I can work with it. Then towards the end, you might see me coming up a little bit closer, but by then everything is running fairly smooth and it's balanced, and you know, I'm not taking big chunks of wood out of it. I am going a little bit more casual. Now, let's go back to my craziness and my decision as to why would I put a chunk of wood that, you know, it's apparently a nice piece of firewood and not much. Let me bring you in there and show you as to why this one will win. Let me zoom you in. Now, as you turn, a lot of the characteristics you turn away. But some of it will be inherited and will stay with a piece of wood. Now, the reason why this piece of wood is on this slate to start off with is because of all this wood grain that's changing direction, spalting, the fiery spiral that's going through here. So I look at it and it's like, oh wow. Let me back up a little bit on this and take this off the lathe and discuss as to what I'm going to take this off the lathe and go through a little bit of my process of when I'm looking at a piece of wood. Okay, I grab the wood. It's like, okay, it's got something. I pulled the bark off it and I saw what it was doing over here. So it's like, okay, that's interesting. And I look at the piece of wood. It's like, wow. Now, you know me. I like vases. So I am partial to turning vases. And almost every piece you can pick up, you can make a vase out of it. Just about all of them. The question is, how interesting of a piece is it as something else? And I look at this, it's like, oh my God, like it's a vase. It's definitely a vase. I love what's going on here. This would create somewhat, not somewhat, it would create an awesome looking vase. No bark, because all the bark is flying off. It's dried up. It's beyond salvageable as far as bark goes. But what's going through here would be remarkable. A remarkable looking vase. What's going through here is beauty at its best for the wood that it is. And I'm not sure, but this again might be a piece of oh my goodness, I will make sure I write it down in the description. I hate when I run into a blank, but I know what type of wood it is. I just can't think of the name right now. But what's going on through here is a lot of character that wants to be exposed. So looking at this shape, it's like, wow, if I could make this into a bowl, taking the whole thing, this in itself would probably make a pretty interesting looking bowl. And you know bowls, I mean, if it's a natural edge, it's a natural edge. You'll get that concave and the bark, and you know, you get a bowl. If it's a flat rim, it's a flat rim. You get from the center of a board, whatever, and you end up with another bowl. And even though I hate to say it, a bowl is a bowl. Whether if you put a pedestal or not a pedestal, I've seen some beautiful bowls, and I've created some that I think are really interesting bowls. But the majority of my pieces that have become wow factors till now have not been bowls. And I'm looking for that one. I'm searching for that one bowl that's hidden inside one of these pieces. That's going to be a wow factor. And a while back, I did the decisions we make. I had a nice piece that I thought would be an awesome looking bowl or an awesome looking vase. And I chose the vase. And yeah, it was a nice looking vase. But till today, I wonder, was it the best choice I made? Well, this one, I'm gonna go, as much as this looks like a vase to me, I'm gonna go and attempt to retrieve that awesome looking bowl that might be hidden in here. So here's what I do when I got something that's fairly flat and uniform, and I feel that I can put it into my lathe securely and start throwing it up. Bring you in there. And you'll probably say, Al, you are truly crazy. I don't think that that's the case. I think that it's a case where I look at stuff and I see how it's gripping, how it's lining up with everything on my lathe. Am I creating a dangerous environment? Do I have a truly solid grip on when I put it on, even without the worm screw, even without the spur drive? I'm locked up with the tailstock, friction fit, tailstock, and live center. Plenty of pressure in there. The next thing is I would be crazy. No, better word. I would be stupid to even turn this lathe on if I could not get this lathe below 600 RPMs. And in my case, I can turn this at 320 RPMs. So I'm going to shoot for that. And at that speed, even if this fell off, this would fall into the floor, to the bed, not flying off like a missile. So I am not worried about that. But if your lathe only goes down to 600 RPMs, you better mount this up with a spur drive at the very least. Worm screw, make a tenon, do whatever. But talk about tenons. Well, that's my first goal. My first goal is to go in here, start rounding this off, come up with some sort of what I think is going to be the shape, and create a tenon here so I can mount this securely on the opposite side to start shaping the inside of the vase. Bowl, sorry. So here we are, ready to see what's going to be in here. And by the way, the wood is ficus. It's another ficus piece. I had quite a bit of ficus. Nobody really turns it. It's not a wood that is a choice wood for wood turning. But with me, you know, if you know me, I will turn anything and see how it comes out. And some of the best pieces that I've done have been out of wood that is unheard of or nobody has ever turned. Pepper tree, melaleuca, banyan. Those are all woods that I have turned over here with amazing results. Let's not forget sea grape. And here we go, nice and lightly. It's knocking off this high edge here. As soon as I get down to here, I'll be pretty good because I'll be hitting less air. I'll be hitting here, here, and will be a little bit more uniform. The one thing you gotta do if you're beating up on your tool rest with a piece like this is sharpen your tool. Be right back. Now, a nice sharp edge will make all the difference in the world. So, work with sharp tools. And towards the end, sharpen it again to give you clean cuts. But this one sharpening will get me the overall shape of the vase, the bowl. Now, I know I got some checking going through here, but by the time I get this shape coming up into the bowl shape, I'm pretty sure that all of this will be gone. as I start seeing my tool going a little far out beyond the tool rest, well, it's time to move the tool rest close. Now you'll notice that I'm kind of an aggressive turner. Once I get into it, you know, I'm really not being very precise with my tool and trying to achieve already something that's any remotely close to being a finished piece. I am just trying to get to the bottom line of where my shape is. It's early on, but it's time to start looking at shapes of what you're doing, what's coming up, where is this going to be hitting. You know, be looking at that and be conscientious of what your piece is going to be looking like. Now, I don't know if I want to round this off yet all the way through. So I keep establishing how close I have to go in the middle. I can see I still have to go quite a bit, so I can meet up somewhere in here. And keep going with this until I see what's happening on this area here. This is my point of interest right here, is this grain coming from a horizontal to a vertical. So I want to see what's happening here, and of course once I get to the top over here, I want to see what's happening. I'm anxious. I want to see that. I can see some nice faulting in here. So let me go. I'm going to take this a little bit deeper because I know I have to, and continue with the shaping. Now you see there's nothing wrong here. You see the gap? You see this gap? That's way too far to be working. Bring the tool rest in. Do not skip on this. This is almost as important as to how you approach the tool. Be always aware of your spacing between your work and your tool rest. Now, one problem once you get into a situation like this is, yeah, I'm close here, yet I'm very far away from here, and I'm relying on making these cuts. So don't be stuck. Pull your tool rest at an angle that's going to bring you a little bit closer, as long as you can reach, as long as the bedway, the banjo is locked up nicely on your bedway, catching both the front and the back. You can move it until the desired location. So I'm going to continue working this area right here. Now try to ride the bevel on this, which I can do up to a certain point, but once I get out here, I can no longer. But anyway, my handle of the tool starts knocking up on the crank, and I cannot bring it far enough back to continue riding the bevel. So I will ride the bevel as much as I can, and you can see where I ride the bevel, the cuts are nice and clean. As soon as I lose riding the bevel, as soon as I lose the riding of the bevel, I start getting this type of tear out. So it's important that you do as much as you can with riding that bevel all the way out. And here's where I lose it right here. Can't go any further back. So therefore it forces me to come up with a cutting action, not a bevel riding. Gonna go a little bit deeper here. I don't want to keep this. Not through the body. I want to have a good clean surface on this. I will only maintain some of what's going on is towards the top. You know, you could go ahead and really start refining your foot, but because of the way I mount it up, I'm not going to be able to do that. I have to create a foot to be able to flip this over and really refine the rest of what I want this shape to be like. Coming all the way from probably in here, still a little bit deeper. But if I do that right now, this wood has a little bit of spalting. If I do that right now, this might snap off. Not in danger, but snap off and take me off from axis again, and I would have to re-true it up. So rather than do that, take it off, snap that off, that easy, and see how I'm doing for size to mount it up on my chuck. Nice and tight. It's important. It's important that when you put your work on your chuck, and I know everybody will show you this, but it's a reminder. Put it up nice and snug against the shoulders of your chuck. Tighten that up. I'm going to keep my live center in for a little bit while I'm working on this. There's no sense if there's a way for you to keep it in there, then by all means keep it in there. I like what's already happening here with this part. So I'm going to keep this going and try to see how much of this I can capture and see if I can come up all the way up to here. I don't think that's going to happen on this part unless I change the shape of the bowl and I really wanted to keep it flared out like this. And if I change it this way, then I'm going to be chewing up into this, and the idea was that I wanted this to work in my favor. So I will see what I can do to refine this area right here. Probably not going to be able to reach all the way up here. Still got a little ways to go, but I'm going to speed up the lathe to 600 RPMs. Well, I'm almost there, and I think I'm going to continue to catch this edge. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this line right here is a little bit too straight. I either want to make it a concave or a convex. And in this case, I mean, I still got a little bit to go here, but I want to maintain a concave on here. So I'm gonna finish this up so this edging becomes to the shape of the natural end of the wood and not interrupted or cut off, and concave this a little bit. That's better. That's only 80 grit. This bolting on here is going to look pretty nice. Let me bring you around the front end. Well, hopefully I remember to look at this every once in a while and see what's going on. Well, at this point I am ready to start hollowing in here. Now this is going to be a little rough because I got end grain and cross grain on this. So I'm going to go slowly and of course maintain with the same tool. It still has a pretty good sharp edge. So I'm going to go in there slowly. I don't have to worry about saving bark because the only piece of bark I got is this piece right here. Whether if it stays or goes, it doesn't bother me. So let's see what comes up out of this. To get the tool rust in there. And don't beat yourself up at this point because of torn grain. You got plenty of time to go in there and fix that up. I just want to get to where I need to go quick and then refine. Pretty aggressive in the middle because I still got a lot of wood in there, but as I come out I go lighter and lighter all the time because my wall thickness is getting pretty close to where I need it to be. I'm not gonna go crazy on this and go much thinner than this. I will refine it slowly until I get it. Well, definitely want to clean up some of this tear out that's going through here. The top lip, which I'm glad is not too bad. Just gonna write it in here a little bit. I got a little bit of room for that. And to do that, I'm gonna ride the bevel. I'm gonna find it and write it a little bit in there. Much better. Much better. A little bit way on the bottom. But I am not going to concern myself too much with that. I'm going to sand that down. the grain that I was looking for, again, did not come up to exactly what I was anticipating to see. It's there, but it doesn't show up quite as well as I thought it would. But the spalting that's going through it, of course, makes up for it. The last piece I did, the vase that I did with, on that video, The Decisions We Made, I believe that was the name of it, had exactly the same characteristics as this as far as the way it's spalted, which is really, really nice spalting on this. It's very defined, very crisp, not muddy, not dirty in any way. Reminds me a little bit of the banyan, and I actually believe, speaking of banyan, I believe this wood, this tree, to be related to the banyan tree. Now, don't quote me on it, I'm not sure. Let me bring you over the top again. Now, all of this looks pretty good going through here. Now, I got a lot of sanding to do on this. It's only been sanded with 80 grit. So, not going to bore you with the sanding. I'll be back in a few minutes. Wet sand it very lightly. And that should be good enough for the sanding. Dry it up. Just getting rid of some of these fibers that were from the bark that was not here. But the overall, it looks pretty good. Now, that's pretty dry. That's at least dry enough. And, now this wood is not green. It's far from being green. It's been out there for at least 6 months in the elements. So it's pretty stable. It's not going anywhere. I don't think that this will be one of those cases that I pull it out and it's gonna go crazy. But on this one, decisions. I think I'm gonna go with the min wax finish on this as well. Min wax based wax. This is still one of my finishes of choice. Readily available, inexpensive. Pick it up right at Home Depot. And it's compatible with the shine juice on the finish, I guess. I think. So I just rub it on. By the time I get to the end of rubbing it, it's probably dry enough for me to stop buffing. but I'd wait a couple of minutes in between. And typically only apply one coat of this. Now you can apply more than one coat. You can apply one coat, buff it up, then go back, apply a couple of more applications in the same way, and I'm sure that it will achieve a better finish. If you're looking for more of a gloss, and on this one I'm actually going to go for that. I'm going to give it a few applications so we can see the difference. And I'm ready to remove this off so I can reverse check it. Very, very light in weight. Nice, nice finish. Nice piece. Very rough bottom. I gotta finish this off. So again, choices on how to mount this up for the final process. Roller tape is always a good option if you don't have anything else. Coming up with something like this, a soft touch, I don't know, I'm always trying stuff. I am not bound to limitations of tools. I try whatever fits. If it fits, most likely it can be used. Put this up, protect it a little bit so it doesn't come in contact with the metal. And I don't think it will. Bring my life center in. Now, whenever you got the center point of where you had it mounted before, that's always a big plus as far as getting the piece back on there. But I don't need a big bowl gouge to do the detail that I want to do in here. A little one works fine. I'm close to the work, so time to start it up. If you want to do some detail, now's the time. And I use a parting tool to corner the edge of my parting tool when I want to do some beads, some line. Time to sand it down. Before I sand it down, remove your tool rest out of the way. And go in there. Be careful not to lose the middle, which part of it just snapped off on me. So I will go back in there. I want to make sure that holds till the very end. Well, I have to tell you, this is not bad. It's not going to win any awards, but it is a nice looking bowl. Very nice. The wood grain, that the characteristics that I was looking from the beginning, you can see that it gives me these swirly lines, squiggly lines. I don't know if you can see them, but it's not as prominent as I thought it would be. Because on this part here, I had grain and grain. On this part here, I had vertical grain. So I expected to see a little bit more there than what I'm seeing. But either way, it's a nice looking piece all the way around. Yes, and I kept this inclusion here. Why? Because it doesn't bother me. If it bothered me, it would be something that I would just go in a little bit deeper and get rid of it. I was working with the tool right in there. So again, it's choices that we make to our own style or our own goals or whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. It's not predefined. It's not because somebody else did it. It's not because it looks better or worse. It's because it's who we are and what makes us as individuals. Nice looking bowl. Again, it's a bowl. You know, you are limited with bowls. If it was, you know, here's another bowl that would be similar to this. If I decide I want to finish it, I took it off because it's oak, it's very hard, but I lost part of the bark on the edge. So I took it off. I might just keep it, return it, and keep it with this smooth edging. And it will make a nice looking smaller bowl, but another bowl. And then we get two pieces like this, and it's a vase. It's had better days. I don't like the coloring on it. So it's not going to make it anywhere. I turned it, and it's here. It's got a split, I think. Yep, it had a split going down this area right here. So I took it off. I didn't care for it. I didn't care what was happening with the bark either. And I don't like the colors on it. So it's off to the side. But again, it's, you know, it's the same idea. This one is deep, this one is shallow. This one becomes a bowl, this one becomes a vase. If this was turned as a vase, it would have been a much better looking vase than this one for sure. Well, thank you again for watching. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And thank you if you have. Most important, don't forget to leave a comment, even if it's a negative comment. Come on, guys. I don't mind getting 100 thumbs down, but let me know why I'm getting a thumbs down. That's all I ask. I don't care who you are. It's not going to change anything. And if I don't agree with your reason, I will say, I don't agree with your reason. This is my method, this is how I do it, and I will be verbal on whichever. And if I see that it's a valid point, I will say, you're absolutely right. I should have concentrated on that. You're absolutely right. My camera angle sucked. Or I should have picked up on this. Or I should have given a better finish. Or I should have done this or this or this or this. I can take criticism as to what, if you let me know what it is. But just to go in there and give me a thumbs down, I don't want to call you a coward, but you are a coward, because put a comment down below and say, this is why I'm doing it, and I will try to fix those areas. If you don't want to put a comment, screw you. Yes, I get very upset, very verbal, and I have to work on that and be a little bit more subtle with the things. But come on, guys, really. If you don't like something, it's quite alright. Well, if you know that you don't like my work, period, why bother coming to my channel? It's still me. I'm gonna be producing the same way. My talk is gonna be the same thing. It's going to be the same Al. You don't like Al, go elsewhere. Or at least have the courtesy or the decency to say, hey, this is why I don't like this. You're right, I'm not going to come back to your channel. Hey, your channel sucks. Whatever it is. But it's better than being cowardly about it. Take care. Maybe we'll see you again.